Good evening, everyone. I'm Akhil, your host for the Fast Track SQL program. SQL is the backbone of the databases and a must have skill for everyone working with the data. By learning SQL, you gain the ability to store, manage, and analyze data effectively, which is crucial for data analytics, reporting, and decision making in real time. Through this program, we'll quickly build your SQL skills and help you apply them in real world scenarios. So guys, initially we'll understand what are the topics that we are going to cover as part of this program, and then we'll actually understand the topic for the day. Got it? And moreover, I'll be taking all your questions at the last. Okay. So whatever the questions that you are going to have, just make a note of all your questions. Right. So what exactly are we going to learn in the coming 6 days? So this particular program, Fast Track SQL, was designed for 6 days. Okay, starting from day 1 to day, we are going to learn multiple topics, important topics as part of structured query language. Okay, so what are these topics that we are going to learn? First one is introduction to DBMS and SQL. So let us understand what is this DBMS, Database Management System. Then before understanding database management system, we should understand what is database. Yes, obviously. So we'll be understanding what is database management system. Okay, what are the different types of database management system we have, followed by, SQL, structured query language. Then next to understanding the basic fundamentals, understanding all the history followed by the features, we'll be understanding the core concepts, the fundamental concepts like SQL commands. SQL commands. So under SQL commands, we'll be having 5 different languages. They are DDL, DQL, DML, DCL, and TCL. So all these 5 languages, the purpose of each and every language along with the commands, we are going to understand where we mainly focus on the syntax. Okay, so that will be the next topic. Then after completing the commands, we'll be understanding what are the different data types that we have in SQL. Data types in SQL and as well as operators. As well as operators in SQL. So these are, the basic and the fundamental topics of SQL. Are we going to learn only these topics? No. We'll be continuing with post understanding operators. We'll go with SQL clauses. One of the important topic, SQL clauses and constraints. So why should we learn clauses? How actually clauses are going to help us? Okay. What are the different types of clauses we have in SQL? We'll understand. Then post understanding clauses, we'll also understand constraints. Okay. What is a constraint? What are the different types of constraints we have in SQL? Probably you might have heard primary key, foreign key, candidate key, So all these constraints we are going to learn as part of constraints topic. Then next to constraints, we'll also understand joins. Joins is nothing but, combining the tables, how you're going to combine two tables or combine multiple tables. Then next to joins, we'll understand subqueries, views, what are views, how actually views help us, So we'll be understanding the views as well. Post understanding views, we'll go with window functions. We'll go with window functions. So in interviews, especially in interviews, you can expect a question from window functions, right? So we'll be discussing the window functions as well. And finally, we are going to conclude this program with the last topic. It is nothing but Python and database connectivity. What are we going to do in the last topic? We are going to establish a connection between Python and database. Okay, so why should we establish the connection? What if we don't establish the connection? We'll be understanding in the last topic. So these are the list of topics that we are going to cover as part of this program, that is Fast Track SQL. Okay, and guys, this is a 2-hour program where we have dedicatedly, we are going to complete in the next 1 week. So I want your attendance for the next 6 days, where you will be learning all the core concepts. These are more than enough to add SQL as one of your skill in your resume. I hope it is making sense, right? Yes. And I am going to start with the first topic. It is Introduction to SQL. Okay. So before we understand what is the commands, the data types, operators, all these topics, we have to understand what is SQL. If you don't understand what is SQL, what is the purpose of directly going and understanding the other topics? It doesn't make any sense, right? So let me start with the first topic. It is Introduction to SQL. So what are the subtopics that we have in Introduction to SQL? Let us quickly cover the agenda for the day. Today, we are going to understand history of databases. This is not a topic that was, introduced recently, guys. There is a history behind databases. Let us understand the history behind the databases. Okay. So what actually made people to invent a database? Okay. What are the challenges with other systems? What exactly is a database? Okay, then post understanding database, let us also understand a management system called Database Management System, DBMS. What is DBMS? And under DBMS, one of the important management system that we have is Relational Database Management System, RDBMS. Okay, we'll be focusing on RDBMS. I'll tell you the reason why. And post understanding the relational databases, we'll be understanding the relations between, these relational database management system, the different types of relations. And then we'll introduce to SQL. So database is different, SQL is different. Okay, so post understanding each and every topic about database, Then we'll understand what is SQL. Okay. So SQL is a language, but is it a programming language? Come on, guys. What do you say? And moreover, I want you guys to respond in the chat. Okay. I want you to engage with me. Don't sit idle. I want everyone to type your answers in the chat box. Is it a programming language? What do you see? Yes or no? Yes. Is it a programming language, guys? SQL is a programming language. Again, my friends has some questions. What is programming language? Programming language is nothing but, probably you might have heard Python. Good, good. Python is a programming language. Yes, exactly. Good. SQL is not a programming language. Then what is SQL? SQL is a query language, guys. Okay. So we are going to understand this query language. It is not a programming language. Okay. So what is the difference between programming language and query language is what we are going to understand. And don't get afraid that it's not a programming language. When I say programming, many of my friends got afraid. Right? It's not a programming language. Anyways, then post understanding what is SQL, we'll also understand the key features of SQL. Then we'll compare SQL and no SQL finally. Okay, like how we have SQL, in the same way we also have no SQL, not only structured query language. Good. So this is the agenda for the day, guys. Today we are just going to understand the basics, the fundamentals of databases and SQL. That's it. Probably in the next class, we'll be starting with the hands-on part. The main uh, aim behind this program is we focus on hands-on. What do you mean by hands-on? Hands-on is nothing but practice. Practice in the sense, even these queries, structured query language, if you want to memorize the syntaxes, you have to practice. So this hands-on is what we focus on. I'll be, getting the queries, I'll be executing them. Parallelly, if you are able to do it, that's fine. If not, after completion of the session, at least if you focus on the hands-on, yes, for sure, you can get a good amount of knowledge on SQL. Right? Yes. So without no further delay, let's get started. I'll start with the history of databases. So when actually database was introduced, any idea? If I go back to 1950s, do you think in 1950s we have databases? No, not exactly. Then how did we store the data in 1950s or 1960s? In early days. Early days, as the amount of data that used to be generated is very less, data was stored in file system. Data was stored in files. What happens if the data was stored in files? Simple. If the data is stored in files, there is no security. There is no security, and the amount of data that is getting stored in the file can be more, can be redundant, can be duplicate. Yes. So earlier, This is one of the major problem. The challenge with the file system was data redundancy. What do you mean by data redundancy? It's nothing but, data duplication. When I store some X amount of data in a file, is this file going to tell me that, you're storing some duplicate data? No. In the same way, there is no security for this data, right? So this was the major problem that was identified when the data was stored in file systems in 1950s, 1960s. This was one of the major issue. Then what has replaced the challenge of file system is, for the first time in 1960s, late 1960s guys, hierarchical databases were introduced to the market. Hierarchical databases were introduced. Who introduced hierarchical databases? It's IBM. By IBM. And the data was stored in a tree-like structure. So what do you mean by hierarchy? In general, tell me the meaning of hierarchy. The general English. Hierarchy means order or level, right? See, if you take ranks of military, army, right? Do you have an order? Yes, there is a specific order that represents hierarchy. In the same way, data was organized in tree-like structure using these hierarchical databases. How? By establishing a relationship like parent-child. The data was stored in this fashion, parent-child. But there is again a challenge with hierarchical databases as well. What is it? A rigid structure. And because of its structure, it was unable to adapt for the new requirements. And this was overcome by network databases. So what happened? Eventually, there is some research going on with respect to the databases. For each and every decade, you see a increase, right? There is a research running behind the databases, and because of that, there are new inventions in the space of databases. So in network databases, it allows us to have many to many relationships. In simple network, you just imagine, network means probably you take Facebook or your Instagram, Twitter, nothing but X. So all these are some of the examples for many to many relationship. You connected to one person, that that person will be connected to the other. So in this way, you'll have many to many relationship. Then followed by later on, we have relational databases coming in. And these are the databases that we are using in the real world currently. In 1970, a person called E.F. Cott from IBM have invented these relational databases. And why they are called as relational databases? Because he introduced the concept of relations. What are these relations? They are nothing but tables, guys. What is a table? In general, what is table? Table is nothing but a collection of rows and columns. What are rows? The horizontal one are called rows. The vertical one are called columns. Right? So, the relational databases allowed us to have the relations between the tables, which helps us to store and manage the data between the tables. Then, what about 2000s? This is fine. Nowadays, probably you might have heard the concept of cloud. Cloud coming in. Right? Yes. Next to relational databases, we also have object-oriented databases. Then, NoSQL or big data era, in which everyone started storing the data in cloud. Because the amount of data that is being generated in today's world is very big. How big it is? You know what is meant by big data, guys? Let me keep it here. We know what is data. What is data? Data is nothing but a piece of information. Any information is called data. And why do you think the data is called as big data? Or what made in the current world to generate a huge amount of data? Yes, do respond. Why it is called as big data? That huge amount of data is being really generated, or is it a false news? If that is your question, it's absolutely correct. The reason behind it is all of us are using social media. Yes. Everyone have Instagram account. Yes. So what do you do in your Insta? In your profile, you go and you stalk, or you go through your feed. So whatever you go, whatever you like, whatever you watch, each and everything is getting recorded. Now you tell me, is it really big? Yes. The reason behind it is, there are trillions of people in the world, right? There are trillions of people. And because of these people who watch, I'm just taking an example of Instagram, guys. If you take other examples, any example, you will obviously find big data. Big data is defined using 4 V's. 4 V's are nothing but volume, velocity, veracity, and variety. So these 4 V's together talk about big data, whether the data is big or not. Okay. So in order to handle or in order to store this huge amount of data, we are using cloud. The modern databases are nothing but cloud. So what do? You store the same data, okay, but not in the traditional databases, which does not support, where you're going to store this data in cloud platforms. So this is the history of databases, guys. Right? Yes. Let me talk about what is database, because we understood what are, the history of databases, how the databases got introduced, what made them to introduce. Let us understand what is a database. From so far, I'm using the word called database. But what exactly is a database? Database is, it's simply a container. I can just, you know, give it as a name as a container. What does it contain? It contains data. A database contains data. But what is the purpose of it? It helps us to access the data. We can manage the data as well as, we can update it whenever you want to do so. Okay. So you can perform any kind of operation on the data that is present inside database. Got it? Yes. So database, in short, it is called a container. See, if you assume this is a DB is nothing but database, guys. So what is the purpose of it? The purpose of data is to collect it, to store it. Okay. Post storing the data, I can go through it whenever I want, nothing but accessing. I can manage it as well as I can also update it whenever I want to do some kind of updations. Yes, I can go and update the data. Got it? Yes. Let me talk about some features for the database. It helps us to keep the data organized. How? In the form of tables. When you store the data in the form of table, will the data be organized or not? Yes. I'll store the employees details in one table. I'll store department details in other table. So if I store the data in such way, in this format, isn't the data looking organized? Yes, it is. It is, guys. So for organizing the data, we need a database. But if you are trying to store the same data in some other, format, it does not look organized. Making sense? Then for efficient management, I can quickly retrieve and manipulate the data. Manipulate is nothing but I can do some kind of changes. Then for data integrity, in order to maintain the accuracy and to get the consistency of data, we need a database as well as it supports accessibility. Multiple users can, use the database for accessing. Yes. So these are some of the key features when it comes to database. Okay. And here are a few examples of databases, guys. So databases are of again two types, relational and non-relational databases. So under relational, we have MySQL, where we are going to learn MySQL as part of this fast track SQL program. So don't get confused between MySQL and SQL. SQL is a structured query language. SQL means it's a language. What is MySQL? It's a database. What is the difference? We'll understand. Both are not same. Many of us will have a question that both are same, or we assume that both of them are same. No, they are not. MySQL is a database. See, it's a database. SQL is a language, query language. Okay, we'll talk about SQL. Then we have PostgreSQL, SQL Server, MariaDB, MongoDB, so on. Coming to no relational. That is nothing but non-relational databases. We have MongoDB, Cassandra, Hive. Okay. There are n number of non-relational databases also. I have just listed only a few. There are multiple guys. Again, the question comes, should I learn all these databases? No, my friend. Not required. Not required. If you learn SQL, done. If you learn no SQL, you're done. Then what is the difference between these databases? I'll tell you. You need not learn all these databases, not required. Okay. What changes between the databases? I'll explain in a couple of minutes. So what are we going to learn in this fast track SQL program? We are focusing on MySQL database. Okay, fine. Then coming to the importance of databases, it acts like a centralized repository for data. For storing the data, it acts like a centralized repository, and it also tries to reduce, or you can also use the best word, eliminate the redundancy of your data. What is redundancy? Redundancy is nothing but duplicating, guys. Duplicate. I'll just give an example. See, if you have the data stored in duplicate manner, or let me also not go directly into the subject. I'll just give an example. See, all of you are using mobile phones. Yes, I don't see a person who doesn't have mobile nowadays, right? Yes. So in your mobile, if your mobile is occupied with more storage, if it is occupied with some information, whatever it might be, if it is occupied with some files, some extra stuff, will your mobile work as usual? No, no, it gets hanged. Why? The reason behind that is there is always trade-off between performance and storage. This is something that you might have already experienced. Am I right? If your mobile is occupied with multiple files, if the storage is completely full, just think of your performance of your mobile, guys. It will gradually come down. That is because of your storage in your mobile is very high. In the same way, if the storage, that is nothing but if the mobile is occupied with less amount of files, the media files and all, performance will be as usual good. So the same concept apply here. If the same amount of data is getting repeated data is getting stored, what is the use of storing the same repeated data? First of all, tell me. There is no use, right? So that redundancy can be eliminated when you store the data in databases. That can be done. And you take any domain, e-commerce, social media, or any business system, everyone started storing the data in database. And if they're able to afford, nowadays, many of the companies, they're also using cloud. For storing the data, they have migrated to cloud as well. But this is, expensive. Compared to database, it is expensive. Right? So let me talk, I hope, database and the meaning for the database is very clear. So database is nothing but it's a container in which it helps us to store the data. Right? Yes. Now let us understand what is DBMS. We understood what is database. Let us understand what is database management system. Okay. So database management system, it's nothing but it's a software. It is a software. What does this database management system does? It allows users like us, we can create, we can manage, we can manipulate the data which is present inside the databases effectively. Whatever the data that is present inside the database, being an end user, we can go and manipulate the data as per our requirement. And how can we do it? This can be done by, a user interface. We should have a user interface. That is nothing but DBMS, Database Management System. So this database management system helps us to manage. It's a system which helps us to manage database. Simple. If you are unable to understand what exactly is database, you can assume like this. It simply acts as an interface between whom? Between the database and the users. Making sense? So the same key features is what you'll observe here as well. The advantages of DBMS is, so it also reduces the data redundancy and the data security gets enhanced. This is one of the key important advantage. Why? In real time, for your data, they should be secured. The data should be secured. If there is no security for the data, what is the use of storing it in database? So that security will be provided by DBMS. But we also have disadvantages, guys. We also have disadvantages with DBMS. Starting itself, we have to invest a lot. Initial cost is a bit high. In order to purchase the setup and the hardware, we have to spend a good amount to complete the setup of DBMS. And it also requires persons who are, specialized for this management. So it's very simple. DBMS is nothing but it's a system which helps us to manage database. In short, it acts like a interface between end users and the database. Clear? So this DBMS is there are multiple types in DBMS. There are multiple types of DBMS. What are different types of DBMS we have? We have RDBMS, HDBMS, NDBMS, ODBMS, non-relational DBMS. So in total, you'll see 5. What are these 5? Relational database management system. So we are going to talk about different types of database management system. Okay, the first one is relational database management system. What is relational database management system? It is nothing but the data is stored in the form of tables. Data gets stored in the form of tables where these tables are called as relations, which helps us to establish the relation between one table to other table. It is called as relational database management system. And we are learning MySQL. So this MySQL is An example for RDBMS. It is an example of RDBMS. We also have Oracle DBMS, Postgres. All of these are the other examples, guys. Okay. Then the second one, hierarchical DBMS. We already studied about hierarchical databases under the history of databases. Yes, the data gets stored in the form of tree-like structure. So those are nothing but hierarchical database management system. And here is an example of IBM. IMS is one of the hierarchical DBMS. We are not going to focus on it anyhow, but just try to understand. Next to it, we'll have network DBMS. We have network DBMS. If you are able to represent the data with many-to-many relationship, similar like graph structure, okay, so that is nothing but a network DBMS. And an example here is IDS, integrated data store. What are these? These are also some databases, guys. But let us not go through them. The simplest and the easiest are relational database management system. Any relational database management system, you can understand, you can go through it very easily. Okay. So that is the reason we are going to learn MySQL, which is trending in the real time. Okay. If you go and check in the real trend, MySQL is leading the market. Majority of the companies, they are using MySQL for storing the data. Okay. So we'll be learning MySQL. Then we also have object-oriented database management system where the data will be stored in the form of objects. It uses the concept of object-oriented programming. OOPS. It uses OOPS as part of object-oriented database management system where the data will be stored in the form of objects. Examples are ObjectDB, DB4O. They are some of the examples. And finally, non-relational database management system. Okay. So 1 and 2. Nothing but relational and non-relational database management system are used widely in real time. Okay. So in order to store the data in relational database management system, we have to learn SQL, and in order to store the data in non-relational database management system, we have to learn NoSQL. That is why we are learning SQL and NoSQL. Anyhow, we are not going to learn NoSQL as part of this program, but we'll be focusing on SQL, guys. So under relational database management system, you'll observe the relations between the tables. In non-relational database management system, the data is not stored in, table format. It is stored in non-tabular formats, where we generally store unstructured data and semi-structured data. Widely used examples are, databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, Hive, so on. Okay, so we'll be focusing on SQL as part of this series. An advice for you, do focus on NoSQL as well. These are two different languages, one for RDBMS system and the other one is for non-RDBMS system. So here the data is stored in the form of tables and here in non-tabular formats. Like if you take an image, Can you store this image in a table? Not exactly. Am I right or wrong? Because image is a collection of pixels. If you convert this image to pixels and if you are trying to store it in a table, and if an end user or a person goes through this table, he or she will not be able to understand the pixels. Right? So non-relational database management system actually helps us to store the unstructured data and semi-structured data. Unstructured data is nothing but the data which cannot be represented in the form of table in its raw format. Examples are images, video, audio, text, speech. All of these are part of unstructured database. They are part of unstructured data only. So in order to store such kind of data, and you think of the huge amount of data that is being generated in real time is unstructured data only. See, I'm delivering a session for you, right? So what kind of data is being transmitted between you and me? Speech, nothing but text. I'm watching a movie, video. I'm listening to a song, audio. So if you observe properly, in the entire world, in the entire planet, 80% of the data is unstructured. 80% of the data is unstructured, and a lot of research is going on unstructured data. But only just 20% is structured, guys. If it is structured, yes, obviously you can store it in a table. Structured in the sense, you are able to represent the data, the raw data in rows and columns, like your marks, the amount of, the marks that you scored in each and every subject. It is structured. Okay, so in this way, depending on the type of data, we are supposed to choose the database accordingly, and depending on the database, the language will be selected. If it is relational database management system, we use SQL. If it is non-relational, we use NoSQL. So just be clear on the basic stuff initially. Later on, you can focus on the advanced topics. Right? Yes, it's clear. Let us talk about what are these relational databases, because we are focusing on SQL. Right? So let us talk about relational databases. Relational databases, relational database management system, which means a system which helps us to manage the databases, okay, in which it allows us to have the relations between the tables. See, the data gets organized in the form of tables. What are tables called? Relations. That is why it is called as relational database management system. Okay, this is how you can observe, the relational database management system be like. You observe the image, how each table 1 connected with table 2, table 2 connected with table 3. You see the connections? These are called as relations. The relations in which you will see the relationships. In order to handle the data, in order to access the data that is present inside the relational database management system, We use SQL. We use SQL, structured query language. Now you are getting the point? In simple, I'm using English for communication. Yes. The language, the mode of language, the mode of communication that I have selected is English language. In the same way, if I want to communicate with an RDBMS system in which the data is stored, okay, I need a language. That language is called structured query language. That is called as structured query language. And as usual, it's very simple, guys. Trust me, it's very simple. When you are going through syntaxes, you'll feel like English like language. The syntaxes that you are going to learn as part of relational database. Okay. It might be MySQL, Postgres, anything. As we are going to focus on MySQL, I'll confine to MySQL only. Okay. The syntaxes you'll observe similar to English language. If you are able to understand English, yes, you can understand the syntaxes as part of SQL. Okay, we can have relationships and it supports acid properties. What are these acid properties? Atomicity, consistency. The data can be consistency, durability, and as well as isolation. Okay, so these are the different advantages that you get with respect to relational databases. Then let us understand next to RDBMS, let us understand the different types of relations in relational database management system. Within RDBMS system, you'll observe different types of relationships. So far we are talking about relationships. Yes. So let us understand these relationships. The first one is one-to-one relationship. So what are these relationships that we are talking about? Relationships that I'm talking about are nothing but, how the tables are connected with each other. You take two tables, how are they connected with? Are nothing but the relationships. The first one-to-one relationship. You'll exactly find one-to-one relationship. What does this one-to-one relationship means? See, person and passport. A person can have only one passport, or can a person have n number of passports, guys? If a person have n number of passports, it's an illegal thing. He'll put again bars. Yes. So a person can have only one passport. In the same way, if you take a passport, it will be confined to one person only. So this is called as one-to-one relationship. One relationship in the forward direction and one relationship in the backward direction. This is called as one-to-one. Making sense? Then next one is many to many. What does this many to many means? You'll observe many relations. For a table, you'll observe many relations. Both in both the directions. Here is an example, guys. Multiple employees can work in a project. Yes, obviously. If you take one single project, multiple employees can be part of a single project. Right? In the same way, if you take multiple projects, In multiple projects, again, multiple employees can be part of it. Yes. So this is an many to many relationship. First one is one to one and the second one is many to many. So that means many rows from table 1, nothing but table A, will be related to many rows in table B. That is called as many to many relationship. Then we have two more types of relationships. The third one is one to many relationship. And the fourth one will be many to one. The vice versa of the third type. Okay. So let us understand what is this one to many. One customer can have n number of accounts. Yes. If you take a person can have multiple bank accounts. But if you take one bank account, that account will be of only one person. This is an example of one to many. If you inverse this relationship, you'll get many to one, guys. See? Always many is represented with asterisk mark, star. Many to one is the inverse of one to many relationship. See, multiple students. The best example. Multiple students learn DBMS course, database management system course. Yes. All of you are learning DBMS course. Yes. If I go in the reverse direction, one course is learned by multiple students. Multiple students have enrolled for one single course. Right? So this is a many to one relationship. There are in total 4 types of relationships. They are one to one, many to many, one to many, and many to one. Okay. Right. Next to the types of relationships, we have data model. What is this data model? Here is an example. So data model is actually, the entire framework, guys, which represents how the data is getting organized. We choose it to organize and define the data elements. We are going to represent their relationships within the database. So within a database, you are representing the entire structure using a data model. This is called a data model. And we have different types of data models. What are they? Hierarchical, network, relational, the same story again. Depending on the type of database, you'll find the data model. Object oriented and ER model, entity relationship model. Right? So what is the database that we are going to try to understand? It is relational database, right? So obviously we are going to get a relational data model in this fashion. And next to the data models, we have the final picture. It is SQL. SQL coming in. So what exactly is SQL? So far, whatever we have learned is nothing but database case. The types of databases. Then we understood database management system, DBMS system. Okay. Then Now let us understand what is SQL. So what is SQL? I have already given a hint for you. SQL is a language. Yes, SQL is a language. But is it a programming language? No. SQL means structured query language. Structured query language, which means it's a query language. It's a query language. What is the purpose of SQL? It helps us to communicate with RDBMS systems. Any relational database management system, if you want to communicate with these systems, you need a language. It is called as SQL. SQL helps us for, managing and manipulating the data within the relational databases. That is what we are understanding. So using SQL, we can query, we can insert the records, we can update the data, we can delete the data, as well as we can manage the data. That means each and every single action can be done on the data using SQL. SQL was earlier it is called as SQL. Even if you observe in real time, many of them they'll be using the word called SQL. Instead of SQL, they'll ask you whether you are good at SQL or not. Don't assume both are different. They're not different guys, both are same. What is SQL? SQL means structured English query language. I repeat, structured English query language. Same. From SQL, they have removed E, and nowadays it is called as structured query language, and SQL became SQL. Okay, both are same. Why it is named as SQL, the commands, the syntaxes that you are going to learn, all of them will be in English like language. The commands or the syntaxes will be similar to English. That is why it is called as SQL earlier. And now they have removed that English from SQL and they are calling it as SQL. Yes. So this SQL helps us for communication. What are we communicating? We are communicating some whatever you want. See, if you want to delete a record or if you want to update a record, you want to perform a certain operation. So this kind of communication, whatever you want to do, that communication can be done between you and the relational database by SQL. That can be done by SQL. What are the relational databases that we have? MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, Oracle DB, SQLite, MariaDB. All of these are multiple relational databases. Again, how many relational databases we can have or we generally have is we have n number of relational databases. And friends, you need not learn all of these. If you learn at least one, see, as part of these sessions, we are going to learn MySQL. If you learn MySQL perfectly, In the sense, whatever we are going to cover as part of this program, if you are able to do so, you can do the same in Postgres, SQL Server, Oracle, SQLite, Maria, whatever it might be. What gets changed, UI, user interface will change. That's it. Only user interface will change. Why? Because all of these are relational databases, and for all these relational databases, there is only one language that is required for communication. It is SQL, which is going to be learned as part of these sessions. Okay, so if you learn SQL, you can deal any kind of relational database. Only the user interface will change. Okay, anyways, I'll talk the difference between these in the coming classes as well. Then, who is the inventor of SQL? Are Dr. Edgar F. Codd. This guy have invented SQL in 1970 only. When relational databases were introduced, this person have also invented the SQL language for communication. And who should learn SQL? Who should learn SQL in real time? Any person who is going to deal with data. Whoever is going to deal with the data, they have to learn SQL for sure. I'll give you some of the examples. The people who have to learn SQL: data analyst, data scientist, then AI engineers. We also have full stack people. Yes, all of these people, data engineers. So these people have to learn SQL, guys. And SQL is very simplest language. It is the simplest language. Right. What are the key functions of SQL? When we say key functions, it helps us for querying the data. In order to query the data, we have to learn SQL. In order to manipulate the data, same SQL. For managing, SQL. In order to control the data, the permissions and all, we need SQL. So that means, in simple, whatever operation that you want to do, whatever single small operation that you want to do on a database, one language that is mandatory that we have to learn is SQL. And if someone asks you why SQL, yes, universal, yes, wherever you go, because everyone started storing the data in database, it's universal. Universal and powerful, as well as standardized. Okay, here is an image. If you observe properly, see the end user. If you are browsing something, what happens when you browse? Say if you have a question, okay, and you are browsing, you are surfing in the internet. When you browse, will you get immediately the results? No. This is what happens in the backend. In the backend, this is what happens. You initially send a request. So this request from the server will be sent to the database. Why? Because in the database only the data gets stored. You take any company, guys, any big organizations, either they might store the data in database or cloud. Do you think that they store the data in files? They laugh at us. either database or cloud. If they are able to afford, they'll go for cloud platform, right? So since the data is stored in the database, the request from the server will be sent to the database and it goes for the keyword matching. Okay, accordingly the links gets pulled as a result and these results will be displayed on your PC. So this is what happened. But majority of us, we are just clear till here, that's it. We are giving the prompt, we are getting the output. This is what we know. We don't know what exactly happens in the backend, right? So in the backend, for sure, a database must have been used for storing the data. From where we are getting the result? Database. And who is actually communicating with it? Right? So that is why SQL is powerful. It's very easy. If you practice, it's very easy because I'm telling you right time again. English like language. It is called as English like language. The reason behind it is the syntaxes that you are going to learn will be in English. Simple English, guys. Yes, the simplest language. Then, next to introduction part, let us talk about the key features. Okay, I'll talk about the key features. Because of these key features, SQL is very simple and widely used for the communication. Yes. The first one, it helps us to retrieve the data. Yes, it's user friendly. And it also helps us to provide indexing, which helps us to enhance the performance. We can have the indexes created. Then it helps us to join the tables. You can join multiple tables. I am talking about the concept of joins. Earlier I have discussed there is a topic of called joins. So as part of joins, you can join multiple tables. Once if you join tables, yes, you can get insights. You can have views created. It helps us for sorting the data. Okay, which helps us for analysis. Then we can aggregate. We can group the data. Right, it helps us to provide data security. And we can access the control over the data. Right, so in this way it has multiple features. Yes, multiple features, and these features making SQL very powerful. And if you're just learning SQL and if you're trying for jobs, you will find multiple opportunities, guys. You're going to expect good amount of packages as well initially. But for that, you need a bit more. Okay, we also have SQL developers. Developers, when you say developer, you are supposed to write the queries, the complex queries as well. Not only the basic one, the complex one as well. And finally, let us compare SQL and NoSQL in one single slide. So far, what we have done is, we understood SQL separately, NoSQL separately. Let us compare both of them. Why are we learning SQL? We are learning SQL, to communicate with relational database management systems. Any RDBMS system, one language, it is SQL. In the same way, any non-relational database management system, if you want to communicate with any non-RDBMS system, one language, it is NoSQL. What is NoSQL? Not only SQL. NoSQL means not only SQL, structured query language. Right? When it comes to a schema, okay, let me talk about the model first of all. Okay. So in relational database management system, the data is stored in the form of tables, guys. The data is stored in the form of tables. Table, yes, means rows, columns. Data is stored in the form of rows and columns. But what about non-relational database management system? There is no fixed schema. The schema gets changed. It is flexible schema. What is schema? Schema is nothing but the data definition. Okay. So some databases, they support key value pairs. Some support storing the data in documents style, graph style. Okay. So it depends on the database. But in RDBMS system, for sure the data gets stored in tables. So that is where you see the difference between schema. Here it is fixed. But here changes, dynamic. Dynamic. What is the language that we use? For RDBMS system, we use SQL. Here, no SQL. Or we can also go with JSON queries. Yes. I'll give some examples. With respect to examples, under relational database management system, we have MySQL, which is a product of Oracle. Okay. We have Postgres, Oracle DB, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay. We also have MariaDB. Okay. All of these are examples of relational databases only. RDBMS systems. Coming to non-relational databases, we have MongoDB. The widely used non-RDBMS system is MongoDB. Cassandra, Redis, Hive, Couchbase, Neo4j. In Neo4j, the data gets stored in the form of graph. Okay, so that's what. Depending on the database, the schema gets changed. That is why you see here the schema being dynamic. The schema is dynamic. And scalability. For relational database management system, you'll see, it is vertically scalable. You can add multiple resources to one single server. To one given server, you'll be adding multiple resources. But for non-RDBMS system, they are horizontally scalable, guys. Where, the data gets distributed among the servers. But here, to one single server, the resources will be added. Then, what kind of data is generally stored? Structured data, like transactions, or if you would like to store any kind of company data, you can go and use RDBMS system. In short, structured data can be stored in RDBMS system, and unstructured data or semi-structured data can be stored in non-RDBMS system. Okay. And when it comes to the transactions, yes, SQL, the RDBMS system supports ACID properties. Okay. Whereas non-relational database store base properties. What are these base properties? The basic availability, okay, then soft state and eventual consistency with respect to the performance. So in short, if you would like to store the structured data, we prefer RDBMS system, and if you would like to store any unstructured data like images, videos, audio, text, speech, we prefer non-RDBMS system. Making sense, guys? Yes. So this is all about the introduction part. Okay. So whatever we have understood so far. Yes, let me go back. I hope it is clear. So what we understood so far? We understood just the introduction to database management system. What is database? What is SQL? Database means it's a container where we store the data. Okay, what is SQL? SQL is structured query language, which is a query language, which is not a programming language, which helps us for accessing the data or manipulating the data, which is in the database. Right. So now, just give me a minute. I want you guys to install MySQL. Okay. Before you come and join the next day's class, I want you guys to complete the MySQL installation. I have already installed. Let me launch MySQL from my PC. In the search bar, I'll search for MySQL Workbench. So let me launch MySQL in my PC. It will take good amount of time. And guys, if you don't have MySQL installed in your PC, do complete the installation. Yes. So this is the home page, the home of MySQL Workbench. Okay. So let me join through the connection. Yes. Fine. Right. So this place is where we keep our queries. Okay. Anyhow, I'll be talking about all these icons in the coming class as well. Okay. And you see the schemas towards the left hand side. Different schemas. Yes, I have completely installed Workbench. And how to install Workbench? If that is your question, launch a browser and within the browser, keep it as MySQL installation, MySQL download. Okay. If you just keep it as MySQL download, click on enter. So don't download only Workbench, guys. Better download as an installer. Okay, you see the first link, download MySQL installer, click on it. This comes as a package. When you click on the first link, it will redirect you to another page. You see here, and depending on the operating system that you are using, it is directly giving for Windows. You can go back and change it for the operating system that you are using accordingly. And this is the recent version that we have of MySQL installer. And just click on this download option. The file gets downloaded and you can go for the installation purpose. You can start installing all the components. Let me click on it. Yes. Yes. Even if you are in this page, you see here MySQL installer for Windows. Okay. Depending on the operating system, go and select the link, guys. Because some might be using Mac. For Mac, this doesn't work. Got it? Just post installing. After downloading the file, you are supposed to start installing. If you go to the community downloads, you'll observe each and everything. Each and every component is here. Either if you would like to install each and every component separately, you can do it, but that will be a headache for you. You better click on this installer so that all the required components will be installed as a package. Making sense? Yes. And I want you guys to complete the installation by today, at least by tomorrow before the class starts. Because from tomorrow, in the sense, in the next class, okay, from the next class, I'll be starting the hands-on where I'll be explaining the topic. Immediately, I'll start with the hands-on. For each and every topic, you know, I'll be executing the queries, guys. So it's your job to practice. Right. Right. Focus. So for the coming next 30 minutes, we'll be focusing on the demo part of the courses. Whatever we deliver in Nextera Unitech, you know, you can have a quick understanding of each and every course to the depth, okay, as well as the offers that you are providing. So do pay attention and I'll address all your questions at the last. The first one, who are we? We are Next Era Unitech. We provide comprehensive trainings in emerging technologies like data analytics, data science, artificial intelligence, and now we are also doing it in Gen AI. What is Gen AI? Generative AI. Okay. So apart from the trainings, we focus mainly on, interactive learning. Our main focus will be on interactive learning where we'll have the live sessions and we focus on hands-on practice guys. Okay. Why we are actually standing on the top is we mainly focus on hands-on practice. See, this is not a movie, first of all. Am I right? You watch a movie for 3 hours, probably you'll go back to your home, and later after 1 week or 10 days, you'll forget this movie. Until unless if you are involved. Am I right? In the same way, if you are watching our sessions, even if it is a live session or recorded, in general, we provide only live sessions. Okay. So all the live sessions that we take care, in these live sessions, we focus on hands-on practice. What is hands-on practice? We ensure that each and every student get involved. Okay. They get committed within the class and they are focused. Apart from these interactive learning, we have designed our curriculum for both beginners till the advanced learners. Okay, whoever might be the learner, whether he's a beginner or an advanced learner, a newcomer or an experienced, a student or a working professional, whomever it might be, guys. Our curriculum has been for all levels of people. Okay, and we also focus on industry standard tools. Whatever the industry standard tools that we have in the market, we'll be focusing on them. And we have capstone projects. Okay, we work on real world scenarios to build these projects, guys. And we make the students to be part of our projects. So this is a crisp introduction about Nextera Unitech. Let us not let me not waste my time sitting what exactly we do. The first course that we provide is Python. Only Python? Yes, only Python. So why one should learn Python? If a question was raised, why you have to learn Python? If that is your question, Python is being used by each and every tech giant. Am I right or wrong? One of the widely used programming language is Python. Yes, which is used by each and every company, almost in each and every domain. Then, why it is being used? Because of friendly syntaxes. Even freshers are able to adapt easily. Versatile applications can be built. You are able to build an automation application? Yes. I am able to build an AI application. Gen AI application can be built. Embedded system application can be built. So in this way, if I keep on talking about Python, huge applications can be built using Python. And this is why I have to learn Python. Why I have to learn Python? A lot of demand. There is a lot of demand in the market. That is why I have to go and learn Python. What do you mean to say? Do you mean to say without learning Python there is no job? No, friend, I didn't mean it. I mean to say that if you are part of tech, IT job, if your dream job is being part of tech, for sure, one important mandatory skill that interviewers are looking out in your resume is Python. I can bet on it. Okay, so that is the reason why many of the people started learning Python. Yes, huge. Okay, I hope you got the point. Why Python? Now, what if you learn Python? How are the opportunities? I'm not unexperienced. Will I get a job? I'm a fresher. Yes, whoever you are, whomever you might be, depending on the type, whether you would like to get a job in development side, engineering side, or specifically data science, or if you're just interested in doing freelancing work, yeah, wish. If you learn Python alone, you can be part of web developer, software engineer. I mean to say that apart from Python, you need to learn a few more things. Like you need to learn some front-end frameworks, HTML, CSS, Java, all these things are required. In the same way, if you want to be part of engineering, ML engineer, AI engineer, see, all of these people, they use Python as the primary language. What is the primary language that is being used? Python. A data analyst, a data scientist. Okay, so what do I understand in 2025 is Python is leading the market in terms of in programming language. You have multiple programming languages. Which programming language is leading the market? That is why, everyone started learning Python. And if you find that the opportunities are good, if the career opportunities are good, you might have also other question. Which domain? Any domain. Whatever might be the domain, irrespective of the time domain, there are opportunities. Gaming platforms, e-commerce sites, then pharma, education domain, finance, automobile, manufacturing, etc. I'm telling every domain, whatever might be the domain, you have an opening for Python. And if you would like to compare the salaries, here are the salaries. And guys, I did not fake these numbers. All these numbers are taken from Google. I have browsed. Accordingly, I have, kept these salary ranges. And these ranges are in India. The average salaries that a Python developer being paid in India, fresher to a mid-range, then a data scientist, fresher to a mid-range, a web developer, a data analyst, MLAI engineer, automation engineer, so on. Okay, none of these numbers are fake. All of these are genuine, and I have took all of them from, Google. If you don't believe me, you take these numbers, a snapshot, compare them from Google, you'll get the same number. And don't assume that you have to learn only Python. See, if you take data scientist, Simply you'll not be paid 20 LPA. Primary skill that you need is Python. Apart from Python, we also need some other skills. What are they? ML, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence. So when you have all these skills, yes, you'll be paid. Don't tell me, I have learned Python. Why am I not getting 20 LPA? No. I am telling you genuinely, if you learn the skill, if you are well equipped with the skill, you'll be paid. Earlier, our package, the scenario is like this. In olden days, our package was decided by what? Salary. I mean, experience. Your package is getting dependent on experience. It is inversely proportional. If you go back to 2000s, 2010, if you have more experience, more package. My bad. See. Inversely proportional or directly? It's directly. More experience, more package. But nowadays, do you think, is it the same? No. Your package is depending on skill. No more experience. This is not joke. You can also compare here and there. Probably you might have heard the news. Freshers are getting paid 15 LPA, 20 LPA, right? That is because of skill. And when do you get skill? When you start hands-on. Learn things and do hands-on. When you practice multiple times, your skill gets increased. And you can achieve your dream job. But if you don't do hands-on, if you just listen to the lecture, there is no use, guys. Time again, I'll repeat the same thing. Focus on hands-on. Right? Anyways, so these are some annual figures in India and abroad. If you are planning abroad, here are a few salaries that are listed down. Again, the same. Okay, depending on the role, the pay. The pay is decided. Anyways, let us ignore the salaries. I'll talk about the roadmap because this is what we are much interested about. What are we going to learn as part of Python? Initially, we'll get introduced to Python. We'll be talking about the history, practical applications, then the features, so on. Then we'll be talking about the basic concepts like data types, operators, flow control statements, functions, modules. All these will be, basic concepts till here probably. Then we have some good concepts like modules, exceptional handling, okay, file handling in Python. We are also going to cover some modules like OS module, random module. Then we'll be understanding how to establish the connection between Python database, how the communication will be happening between Python and the database will be understanding. Then later on, we'll be understanding the OOPS concepts. OOPS. Object-oriented programming, regular expressions, multi-threading, NumPy and Pandas, Okay. Network programming in Python. We have string handling in Python. And finally, generators, decorators, and iterators. Okay. So these are the 24 topics that you'll be learning as part of Python only. If you have opted for Python alone, you'll be learning 24 topics. And when it comes to the course duration, it will be for 2 months, guys. Minimum 2 months. Just think of the course. It's very big, huge. Okay. So I have just mentioned all the topics that we'll be covering as part of Python. Then, next to the roadmap, if you have a question like why you have to choose us, we come up with affordable prices. We are not here to suck your blood. No. We are going to charge only minimal prices that will be very affordable, and we also provide you placement assistance. 100% genuine placement assistance will be provided from our side. Okay. Then we'll also provide you a backup trainer post the completion of the class. If you are unable to connect with the trainer, you'll also have an alternate trainer joining in, and this alternate trainer will be added as a backup for you. You'll get multiple certifications done, and for each and every course that you do, you'll get 1 year validity. And as part of Python, you'll get capstone projects that you need to work on. You have to work on a few capstone projects, and we'll have only live interaction sessions, no recorded. Recordings will be provided, but we ensure that each and every topic gets covered in the live class. And our strength is quality training. We will not misuse our trainings. We focus on the quality training. Okay. Then finally, hands-on learning. We ensure that each and every student is practicing or not. Okay. So these are some of the USPs, unique selling points, why someone should choose us. Okay. Right. So I have completed Python. Now let me talk about the job-oriented industry standard paid course trainings with respect to the Python. So when you say Python, in Python you will be covering both core and advanced Python. Both core and advanced Python will be covered along with NumPy and Pandas. Along with NumPy and Pandas. Apart from these topics, you'll also be provided an internship. You are supposed to complete your internship also. Okay. So you'll be receiving a certification for internship and you'll be working on projects. So this is the standard course that we'll be providing for the students. If you're not interested in taking up this training, if you're interested only in doing the projects, we have such kind of trainings as well. We are ready here to provide internship with mini or major project. So as part of your graduation, you are supposed to do some projects. Yes, if you are interested, yes, do contact us for the projects. If you are interested in only project, we are ready to provide only project as well. Okay. So these are the three different job oriented trainings that we have, and it's up to you who is going to choose what is your requirement, right? So this is all about Python, guys. Let me go to data science, the other one, right? Apart from Python, in which we teach both core and advanced Python, we also provide trainings in the field of data analytics, data science, AI, and generative AI. Okay, so let me talk about the career opportunities initially. If you are going to complete your course with respect to data analytics or data science, AI, so what are the different career opportunities that you'll get? Are you can be hired as a data scientist, ML engineer, data analyst, data engineer, AI specialist, you know, marketing analyst, NLP engineer, big data expert, research scientist, as well as business analyst. We have Gen A engineer, you know, all of these are new designations that are getting added. And we are aware that AI is in boom. AI is in boom. A lot of opportunities. There is a huge demand for AI. If you feel that if you want to be part of AI, do complete your course and be part of real time immediately. The reason behind it is now each and every person started learning AI, guys. Trust me, that is the truth. Okay, each and every damn person started learning AI. So if you learn AI, you'll have a job, is what you are listening. So that is where be careful and complete your classes as soon as possible. Then, next to the career opportunities, the same industries, the domains, okay, AI is in each and every domain, okay, it might be logistics, banking, finance, manufacturing, automobile, e-commerce, finance, you know, life sciences, healthcare, agriculture, wherever you go, you observe AI, right? So you can be part of any domain, and you can also be a domain expert. See, for example, if you have studied mechanical engineering, assume, and if you have also learned AI, and luckily if you get a job related to AI in manufacturing industry, you can work as a subject matter expert along with with your AI skills. So that is where you'll be highlighted. Domain knowledge is very important. So depending on different domains, choose the right path. Okay. And the salaries in India and abroad. So for freshers, mid-range and experienced, as we have all the three different people, we have freshers, nothing but students. We have working experience, working professionals who have experience between 3 to 6 years, and highly experienced people. Okay, so how are the salaries? Here are the salaries that we have in both India and abroad, guys. So before you paying attention to the salary, focus on what you are supposed to learn. And these salaries are depending on these factors. The location, the skill set. See, especially I'll highlight the skill set. If you have the skill set, Nowadays, companies are ready to pay you huge. Yes, it's possible. Okay. And the company size, the reputation. A startup may not provide you a good salary, good compensation, but an MNC can. Right? So all these figures are depending on these factors. Anyways, let us not sit on only the salary part. Let us talk about the data analytics. First program, the simplest program. So what you are going to learn in data analytics? Python will be the programming language. Then post understanding the concepts of Python, you'll understand project management methodology called CRISP MLQ. Okay. Then followed by EDA, exploratory data analysis, SQL, Power BI, advanced Excel. So these are the 6 different modules that you'll be covering, that will be covered as part of data analytics. And for each and every module, under each and every module, you have topics. For each topic, you'll find assignments. You are supposed to work on your assignments and submit them. For these assignments, post completing the assignments, you'll also have projects. Okay. So you are supposed to work on your projects. And once if you're done with your projects, you'll be working on, you'll be getting ready for your mock interviews. Once if you get good feedback, if you are able to perform well within the next Unitech, you'll be pushed to real world interviews. You'll be pushed to real world interviews. As we have connections, your resume gets pushed. So this will be the journey, guys. This will be the complete journey. And in short, the roadmap has been designed like this. In data analytics program, you'll be learning Python, CRISP MLQ, EDA, SQL, Power BI, Advanced Excel. What is the duration? Max 4 months. 4 months. How many projects? 2 projects. What are the certifications that you are going to get? One for course completion, and you'll also receive the individual module certificates and project certificates. Okay, so this is about the data analytics program. The next one we have is data science. It is data science. What makes the difference? As usual, you will be learning Python, CRISP MLQ, EDA, SQL, Power BI. Additionally, you will be learning ML, machine learning algorithms. Top 20 to 30 algorithms you will be learning. Okay, because as there are multiple machine learning algorithms, thousands, which are not required, you'll be learning 20 to 30. And for all these topics, you'll have assignments, you'll have projects, you're supposed to work on it. And post completing your projects, you'll take mock interviews. If your performance is very good, you'll be pushed to real-time interviews. The same flow. But additionally, you'll be learning ML algorithms. Machine learning will be covered. So what is the duration? Here, the same modules like Python, CRISP MLQ, EDA, SQL, Power BI, machine learning gets covered. The duration will be 5 to 6 months max. And you have to work on 3 projects at least. And the certifications that you will be getting are the course completion, individual module certificates, and the project certificates. Whatever the projects that you do, you'll get a certificate. Yes. Next to data science, we have data science with AI. What is the difference between data science and data science with AI program? Is data science and data science with AI. If you observe both, the only difference that you'll observe here is artificial intelligence. Nothing but deep learning gets covered. Python, CRISP-MLQ, EDA, SQL, Power BI, machine learning will anyhow will be covered in data science. Along with these modules, AI, which means DL, will also get covered. DL which gets covered. So the duration for data science with AI is maximum 7 to 8 months. You're supposed to work on 4 different projects, and as usual, you'll get the certifications for your projects. Okay. Now, let me talk about generative AI program. Generative AI. So what is this program that we have? Gen AI program. In Gen AI program, initially the Python fundamentals gets covered. Post covering the Python fundamentals, you'll be understood to the foundations of Gen AI. Like, you'll get understood to basics of AI, ML, and DL. The basic algorithms. Post covering the foundations, we'll start with LLMs like GPT, BERT, Llama, etc. Then we also have multimodal Gen AI. Okay, we are going to build multimodal applications like text to audio conversion, text to video conversion, text to image conversion, so on. Okay, so we'll be focusing on the tools and frameworks like Hugging Face, LangChain, LangGraph. Then we'll be talking about the applications of Gen AI, and we also have some advanced topics like how to fine tune Gen AI models. Okay, so these advanced fine tuning models, fine tuning techniques will be covered. Then you are supposed to complete all your assignments. Post completing your assignments, you'll be provided with your projects. Okay, so under each and every case, at least 80% of the assignments have to be completed. Okay, if you are unable to complete 100%, at least 80% is what we are expecting as part of assignments. Post completing these assignments, you'll meet to project phase, where you'll be working on projects. Post completing your projects, we'll be taking your mock interviews, and your resume gets pushed to the real-time interviews. Clear? But here, if you observe, for Gen AI program, the classes will be only for 2 months, guys. It's a small program that we have designed for working professionals, especially. That doesn't mean the students, depending on their interest. Okay, whether if they are interested, yes, they can come forward and complete the registration, and they can be part of Gen AI program. It's just a 2 months program. Okay, where we are going to cover the modules like LLMs, vector databases, Python, and basics of AI and ML. How many projects? 4 projects. And you'll be getting the course completion certificate as well as the projects completion certificates. Okay, so this is all about the Gen AI program. It's a small program. And we have finally, why someone should choose us is we come up with 100% placement assistance Genuine placement assistance will be provided. Okay, depending on the hard work, depending on the time or the amount that you are spending, the efforts that you put, we'll be providing the placement. Okay, we also come up with quality training. This particular thing I need not stress. The reason behind it is you're already attending the Google, the YouTube sessions. So you are well satisfied with it. So in the same way, we take more care in classroom. When it comes to the classroom, yes, attention is what we expect from you, and our curriculum is designed for each and every level of person. Okay, for all the different levels of person, we have designed our curriculum. Then certifications will be provided. Hands-on learning is what we focus on. The courses will be valid for 1 year. You'll get the backup trainer support, affordable prices. You cannot find these prices in the market, guys. Very small, small prices that everyone can build, everyone can afford. Okay, so these are the reasons why someone should choose us. Yes. If you have any kind of questions with respect to the courses, yes, feel free to ask your questions. Yes. So soon we are going to share feedback link. So within this feedback link, you'll have a question in which you'll find the different courses that we'll be providing. If you are interested in learning the courses, only then you opt for the course. Give your genuine feedback, guys. Please provide your genuine feedback. Yes, any questions related to the courses? Any questions? Yes, the feedback link has been provided. Give your genuine feedback and do subscribe to our channel. And if you have impressed with the first day of our SQL session, do hit on the like button. Use the comment section for posting your comments for your questions. And if you have any kind of technical questions, use this time, guys. Encourage us by clicking on the like button.